Got water.
You're on.
Hi, good evening, and welcome to tonight's program, the long-standing tradition of music in downtown Danbury. Danbury has always been a place about community, and nowhere can the community celebrate with all its citizens better than downtown. Hi, I'm Andrea Gartner, and I'm manager of City Center Danbury. As manager of the Danbury Downtown Special Services District, also known as City Center Danbury, my job is to institute the principles of organization, design, promotion, and business restructuring according to the National Main Street Program for revitalization for downtowns. This federal program was created about 20 years ago to address the concerns of declining downtowns across the U.S. with the building of malls and big box stores outside city centers. City Center Danbury is a member of the National Trust for Historic Preservation and the Connecticut Main Street Center, the state organization that institutes the 4-point federal program. We are very excited about what's been going on downtown. We had a great summer season this year with the return of Thursday nights, family nights. Local Scene on the Green and City Center Saturdays provided weekend entertainment. Our farmers market was relocated to Kennedy Park and proved popular with the whole spectrum of Danbury area residents. Our first Gateway mural project was completed in September through the collaboration of the City of Danbury, the Danbury Cultural Commission, Escape to the Arts, the Aldridge Museum of Contemporary Art, and property owner Joseph DeSilva Jr. Our fall events included Halloween on the Green, many thanks to the Danbury Arena for providing a rain location for us the second year in a row, and Light the Lights at Danbury Plaza, which we just had this past Tuesday. And if you haven't been downtown lately, do come. It looks great. We are holiday ready with garlands and lights throughout City Center because of the great efforts of the Danbury Public Works. Thanks to Antonio, Pat, Greg, and Matt. And looking forward, City Center is working very hard to be the host city for the Connecticut Film Festival in May 2008, and we will also be the site for the bicycle sprints during the Nutmeg Games, state games in August 2008. So you can be sure that there's something going on downtown. City Center comprises about 1 square mile of the Special Services Business District that overlaps much of historic downtown. The district runs from Franklin Street at the railroad tracks down to St. Peter's Church and roughly 1 block out there from either side. City Center is a not-for-profit organization that is led by a board of commissioners. We meet monthly throughout the year, and I will say that I am very fortunate to have such a committed and thoughtful group guiding our future efforts. We mindfully use the principles of organization, design, promotion, and business restructuring as a filter in our programming and organizational decisions. City Center is supported through a special tax that is levied on the City Center District property owners and also by support from the City of Danbury. Our local business community is a key component in our ability to offer programming that we do. We welcome individual donations to the Danbury Downtown Council so that we can continue to improve and expand our events. So if you are a believer in the ongoing effort to revitalize downtown, please support our events. I also encourage you to take 1 day a month and patronize the City Center merchants. Downtown is a great place if you need to run errands, for example. We have a post office, shoe repair, hardware store, printers, and barbers. If you have kids, explore the library, go to Escape to the Arts, Common Ground Dance Studio, the Danbury Arena, the Danbury Railroad Museum, Danbury Historical Museum, and the Danbury Music Center all have enriching programs for the younger set. Are you a foodie? Does the idea of foreign cuisine or exploring markets for authentic ingredients for that new recipe appeal to you? Then downtown is for you. We are chock full of places for Brazilian, Dominican, Polish, Ecuadorian, Salvadoran, Mexican, Peruvian, Chinese, Colombian, Italian, and of course, American food. Bargain hunters, come on downtown. We've got a first-rate consignment shop, many Brazilian fashion boutiques offering high style at affordable prices, and dollar stores that the kids always enjoy. And even if you are a lady who lunches, there is something for you downtown. Before meeting your gal pals for lunch, browse through the Cows Outside, which has purveyed fine leather goods on Main Street for decades. Or check out one of the finest dress shops in the area and the intimate apparel boutiques. There are many places to get a manicure and a pedicure, and the Danbury Beauty Supply is sure to carry your favorite products. So I ask you, listening audience, what you're waiting for. Come downtown. Stop in at City Center, and I'll be glad to give you a personal guide, be your personal guide for all that's going on downtown. And for the really great news, the new parking garage is open. We now have an additional 386 spaces right on Main Street. This afternoon at 4 p.m., there was a ribbon-cutting ceremony with a reception following at Toscana's restaurant. The post-ceremony reception was sponsored by City Center and the Danbury Parking Authority. And now for even greater news, First Night is back. Check out firstnightdanbury.org for the latest information. We have a strong and dedicated committee that is working very hard to maintain this Danbury tradition. So mark your calendars for Monday, December 31st from 4 to 8 p.m. We will kick off at the City Center Green and end the evening with a reception atop the new parking garage, where will be a great bird's eye view of the fireworks display that will happen at 8 p.m. First Night is a fabulous event for youngsters and oldsters and anyone who wants to start their New Year's revelry with a bit of excitement, and especially for those who believe in the importance of a great downtown of our great city. With a renewed energy to bring arts and culture to the Central Business District, City Center is committed to downtown's vibrancy and sustainability. For more information on what's going on downtown, visit our website at www.citycenterdanbury.com. And now for our show and our guests. We have Nancy Sudik. Welcome, Nancy, who is the Executive Director of the Danbury Music Center and Executive Producer of the Nutcracker Ballet. She has served in those capacities since 1984. She has also played horn in the Danbury Symphony Orchestra since 1978 and playing principal horn since 1984. She is a graduate of Western Connecticut State University, majoring in piano performances and music education. She began her career by teaching classes in general, choral, and electronic music at New Fairfield High School and maintained a private piano studio for many years. Mrs. Sudik was named Distinguished Arts Advocate for the state of Connecticut in 1999. She has been recognized for her promoting the music of Charles E. Ives and was featured in a BBC documentary about the famous American composer. Each October, she presents Charles E. Ives Day, an all-day festival to commemorate the music and life of the great Danbury composer. She is a frequent guest speaker at the birth home of Ives, as well as schools and institutes of higher learning. This summer, she worked with Michael Tilson Thomas and the San Francisco Orchestra, filming an upcoming PBS documentary about Charles Ives. Mrs. Sudik has served on the Marian Anderson Committee, established to commemorate the accomplishments of the late singer and to restore and relocate her studio to the grounds of the Danbury Museum. She also served on committees to establish U.S. postage stamps honoring Marian Anderson and Charles E. Ives, and has served on committees to further the public's knowledge about the ship, Amistad, and the Underground Railroad in Western Connecticut. She's on the board of the Housatonic Valley Cultural Alliance, chaired by former State Representative Lou Wallace. Mrs. Sudik plays French horn in numerous orchestras and ensembles and is the Secretary-Treasurer of Local 87, American Federation of Musicians. Thank you, Nancy, for being here this evening.
Thank you, Andrea.
We also have Richard Price. He joined the Danbury Music Center as conductor and music director of the Danbury Concert Chorus in June of 2002. He also conducts the annual performance of Messiah, and for 2004 to 2006, the Nutcracker Ballet. He has enjoyed an unusually diverse musical career, spending 15 years as professional French horn player before entering his current field of a classical recording production. He is president and senior producer of Candlewood Digital, a new Connecticut-based company of classical recording specialists. His work received 2 Grammy nominations in 2006. He has also been active as a choral and baritone soloist since his first choral music directorship at age 17. Nationally recognized as an arranger, his works have been performed by such organizations as the Toronto Symphony, the Dallas Symphony, and Westminster Choir College, as well as on TV and film. His Christmas arrangements will be featured on a CD by the Canadian Brass to be released this season. An alumnus of Juilliard, the University of Michigan, and Pierre Monteau Domaine School for Conductors, he lives with his wife Meg Valls and their daughter Hannah on Candlewood Isle. Thank you, Richard, for being here this evening.
Thank you, Andrea.
And we also have Kimberly Lemack. She received her Bachelor of Music degree in bassoon performance and her teaching certification in music K through 12 from Western Connecticut State University. She is currently working towards her master's degree in music education from Western Connecticut State University. Her teaching certification in music K through 12 from Western Connecticut State University. She is currently working towards her master's degree in music education from Western Connecticut State University. Mrs. Lemak has been a member of the Danbury Community Orchestra since 1997 and is currently the principal bassoonist. She also performed with the summer band program as well as the summer chorus as a teenager. She currently performs with other area ensembles. Mrs. Lemak previously taught middle school orchestra in Jamaica, Queens, and currently teaches general music and strings at Wolf Pit Elementary in Norwalk. Mrs. Lemak resides in Danbury with her husband Tom and their cat, Milo, is it? Milo. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. I do want to mention to our listeners that this is a call-in show, so we invite our viewers to phone in, and that number is 792-4101. We can't have much of a conversation if you don't join us, so please call. Okay, here we are with our panel from the Danbury Music Center, and we're talking about the tradition of music in downtown Danbury. You all have very close ties to downtown Danbury, and from reading your bios and knowing what you do, you're probably the very embodiment of what the Danbury Music Center is all about. I will say that I first met Nancy when I started my position in February at City Center, and the first time we had a conversation, it was a very lively one, and we've basically been talking ever since. From that conversation, we added fireworks to the Pops concert, which always starts off our City Center summer series. And I'd like to think that we're starting a new tradition downtown. So why don't we start with that, the musical traditions in downtown Danbury, and more specifically, the Music Center.
Could I speak to that first one? Because
absolutely,
that's probably my expertise. Although fortunately I was not here in 1935 when the Danbury Music Center was founded, I certainly have done a lot of reading about what took place. And prior to 1935, Donald Tweedy, who was a very wealthy businessman in downtown Danbury, he owned a dairy, I believe, not a hat factory like everyone would expect, went to France and to England. And while he was there, he saw, number one, that they spelled center, C-E-N-T-R-E, and number two, he realized how important homegrown music was. So when he returned, it must have been an extended vacation, I think it was, he returned with his wife, Elizabeth.
They did that in 1935.
They don't do that now, I guess, but they did do that. And when he returned, he founded, along with Jerome Molino, who was the first rabbi in Danbury, the Danbury Music Center, C-E-N-T-R-E. And everybody always asks, and I see you spelled it correctly here, Andrea.
I make a point to do
very,
that, yes.
Very good. I appreciate that a lot. And they founded this organization so that people who had a bent to make music would have an opportunity to do that. The first two organizations were the chorus, that was the oldest one, and then came the orchestra. They called it at that time the Community Orchestra. So there were two viable groups that people could come and join and play. And I've looked at programs from back in the 30s. The chorus was comprised of hundreds of people, hundreds of people. They would give concerts in Concordia Hall, which is over on Crosby Street, if you know, right off the main street.
It's a beautiful building, actually. Yeah.
It is, it is. I used to go there when we had union meetings for the American Federation of Musicians that was held there, but it smelled like beer. I don't think it's that way anymore.
It might be.
And I'm sure it wasn't that way. But they could be, but they gave an awful lot of concerts at Concordia, and thousands of people would file in and fill that. And then they used the War Memorial, and thousands of people would come there. And you say, well, we don't have thousands of people coming to concerts anymore. Well, in part, you can't fit thousands. Another part is because we have excellent fire laws now that will not allow you to do that. But the third thing is you have to remember in the 1930s, TV was not even, I don't even think anybody had thought that there'd be a TV ever, just like 20 years ago we had no idea we'd ever be computer literate. Some of us possibly are not. But in any case, people had radios, and that was their form of entertainment. So the Danbury Music Center was one of the first organizations in town that actually promoted people making music for themselves. And that's how it all started.
And really focusing on the community and bringing the community together.
That's exactly what it was for. And you want to know the funny thing is, missions never changed. The mission
The
is
mission
still,
remains the same?
The mission remains
And
the
what is the
same.
mission of the Danbury
The mission
Music
of the
Center?
Danbury Music Center is to provide opportunities for people to come and make music, and then to present that music for the joy of other people like you, who's not, you're not making your own music,
That's
but the
right.
three of us are. Come on to our concerts. Almost everyone is free, except for Nutcracker.
Yeah, I mean, that's really an amazing part of your programming, is that you do provide accessibility to great music for the larger community.
We're very proud of that. We have a board that works very hard to maintain that principle, and they have hired a staff of people, including Richard and myself. Kim maybe is not on the staff, but she's an integral part of the Danbury Music Center, and when I look at her, I see the up-and-coming generation that's going to take over long after Richard and I are in the wheelchairs. That's what I see.
Pushing the walkers.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I see in Kim. So
That's a wonderful story. And why don't you tell us where you're located? So for those
Oh,
who
sure,
don't know
sure,
the wonderful
certainly.
building that you're in,
happy to do
where
that.
to find you.
The Danbury Music Center is located at 254, 256 Main Street. We kind of gave ourselves our own number, 256. Apparently it doesn't really exist, but 254, it's a long story. We're at 254, 256 Main Street on the corner of Library Place and Main Street, right in front of the brand new parking garage.
That's right. You've been living with that noise for
We've been
for a
living
while.
with the noise, but I'll tell you it's worth it. And when you look at that garage, you will be so impressed with how architecturally they matched the brick, they matched the arches that are on the Danbury Music Center windows. And the Danbury Music Center, for the old-timers in Danbury, know that it actually was the library until
Prior to that,
19...
it still has that on the building.
It says library, and people come in occasionally and they'll go, is this the library? And we'll say, well, if you have overdue books, we'll take the money, because it was the library until 1967.
And we were, this afternoon, we were at the ceremony dedicating the new parking garage, and your words were that you never thought you'd see this day.
I didn't think I'd
coming.
see it in my
And-
lifetime, no.
And it is true, the parking garage is now open, so
Yes.
plenty of room to come downtown. I think it's so wonderful how that there's something, I mean, right now you're 70 plus years
70 plus.
in existence, and with a consistent mission that brings music downtown. And part of our hope at City Center is to create to make downtown Danbury a music city. And so I also want to ask, I can ask you this of you, Richard, what that means to you if turning downtown Danbury into a music city.
I'm
Or
glad
if you also want to also speak to your relationship or your experience with the Danbury Music Center.
Well, let me do the first one first, because I'd love to speak to that.
Okay.
You touched on it a little bit in your opening remarks, and I think people, if you ask them, who are the two Danbury residents that have been on United States postage stamps, they might not guess that they were both classical musicians. No hatters,
Wait, say
no
that again?
politicians.
Wait, say that
the
again.
two Danbury
Two
residents
Danbury
who've been
residents.
on U.S. postage stamps are classical musicians. So we're living in a music city. It has been a music city. Charles Ives and Marian Anderson. Now, there's probably some hatter or a politician that's on a stamp that I don't know about, and all the philatelists are going to call now.
Right,
The
yeah,
lines will be lighting up.
And the lights are blazing.
But there's a tremendous tradition of music here. And, you know, City Center Danbury helps with that. The Music Center does a tremendous amount. I'm a conductor and a musician, so us nuts and bolts people are so dependent on people like you and Nancy and organizations like City Center and the Music Center, because just to put on a concert takes this huge pyramid of effort, and we musicians are sitting on the top enjoying all this effort underneath. But the amount of work that's required to do that is tremendous, and we're grateful for
And
organizations
you've
like
had a lot of
these.
experience in other communities with music, and so how does Danbury compare to that?
The Music Center is totally unique because it's about participatory music. And that's vastly important. You go to Greenwich or you know, Stamford or New Haven, and all these places have their orchestras. But there are professional orchestras with New York freelancers that come up and do the gig for a weekend and then go home. They may have music series. You know, you have Bachsolisten de Freiburg or something, and they're marvelous. You go pay your 40
Right,
bucks and you
Richfield
hear them.
Symphony Orchestra.
Richfield Symphony Orchestra also has professionals. The experience of going to a concert that's well done and hearing your mother on stage playing,
Or your neighbor.
seeing your neighbor dancing the Nutcracker, makes this possible to people in a way that they might not think of it otherwise. nowadays everything is so electronic, we think of it as being removed. But when it's your neighbors and yourself participating, it opens up a whole new world.
There's that connection between what's going on stage and with the audience, and I think too there's because there's such a communion between performers and the audience experiencing the piece, and every performance is special in its own way, that it probably deepens that connection when it might be your neighbor or your teacher or, but as you said, your mother that's up there on the stage.
It does. It's seeing somebody.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very important. It's very, very rare, almost unique in an organization like this for people to be able to come and, without having to pay dues, without having to join something, to be able to sing or play.
And you don't just mean unique just within Danbury, you're talking about in other communities, because that's
I'm sure there are other organizations, but it's very, very rare on the East Coast and nationally.
I tried to find another organization that is even similar to the Danbury Music Center, and I can't find anything. And now with Google searches, you can find just about anything. There are communities that have orchestras, many communities that have choruses. But there are very few organizations that have so many things under one umbrella. We're truly a music center, and the city truly is a city of music. It truly is.
Yeah, and you're right downtown, which we're
right downtown.
So happy about. Kim, can you talk about your experience with the Music Center? Because you've been also involved for a very long time.
Yes. I've come to realize it's 15 years. I started when I was 12 years old in the summer program.
We know how old she is.
That's right.
Yes. If you're good with math, you'll know how old I am. And yes, I did start when I was 12 years old in the band and the chorus. And
how were you introduced? Was it your parents or?
My parents. My mother signed up my sister for strings, for the summer strings, and then she found out that there was a summer band program, so she signed me up for the summer band. And the summer chorus, I ended up doing the next summer also with the band. And then it went from there. I was on all the bands, and then I changed to bassoon in my junior year of high school.
What were you playing, Kim?
I was playing flute originally, and then I was playing French horn. And then I switched over to bassoon my junior year, and then I auditioned for the Danbury Community Orchestra, and I'd only been playing a couple months, and they must have seen something in me, and they accepted me into it, and I'm very glad that they did, because I've been in it ever since, and it's 11 years I've been in that orchestra.
Well, that's great.
It's amazing because the community orchestra, you begin as there's some young children who, teenagers, 12, 13, 14, there's some older people, in their 50s, 60s, 70s playing in it, and everybody plays the same music, and no one's judged, and no one's, you just all come together and you enjoy creating music together. And I've actually watched, in my short time, I've watched one particular violin player start off as a young player, graduate high school, and leave us. And for me, I'm only 27. It makes me feel old to watch him go from the back of the second violin section all the way up to the first violin section and then leave us and graduate. And I'm not sure if he went into music or not, but it was just like, oh my goodness, this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you
really
see the
cool.
growth and the development,
oh, yeah.
and there's room for that in your programming. I know that when we opened our summer series with the orchestra, I mean, it was a wonderful experience, and it was a beautiful program, and you really do contribute a lot to the community.
I think what Kim just said, though, is very telling. She perhaps can say her career began because of the experience she had with the music center.
And the introduction.
Totally.
And the openness of it.
Open the doors to music. And now I'm a music teacher. Look at that.
Look at that.
And from my
That's a direct
vantage point, she isn't the only one. I have seen a whole host of kids grow up and do something related to music or related to something that they learned at the music center, including my own children. So.
And it's great. It keeps perpetuating. We do have a call. We're going to take a call right now. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, Andre, what's up? It's Justin.
Hi, Justin. How are you this evening?
All right. I'm actually at the City Ale House right now watching you on TV.
Oh, that's good. You're watching from a downtown venue. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we actually have a show tonight at 10:30. It's called Still River Sonic Boom of our local music showcase.
Well, that's great. That was a shameless plug, but we'll take it.
Exactly. That's how we do it down at XCI.
So, do you have a question for the Danbury Music Center people here, or any?
Well, I heard you guys talking about the whole production of the whole concert thing, and working with the Ice Arena as like a large event venue. Like, what's up with that?
What's up with the Ice Arena?
Yeah, like for like large events. Like, I know we've been talking about that, right?
Right, right. Well, it's a lot of moving parts that need to be put together. It's still.
And yeah, it's a big process. I was listening to the gentleman to your right saying
Richard,
that it's a big
yes.
process to put on a concert, and you need the big pyramid underneath it to have it work. Sorry, there's some people coming in right now. But yeah, and I'll just have all I really want to say is that he's right. It is a big process to put it on, but as long as you got the people in the right positions, that's how things get done.
That's right, and Justin is the station manager, correct, for WXCI? Yep, and you're staying on. You're gonna pick up a graduate class or something,
exactly.
right? So you
I'm picking up a couple of graduate courses down at WestCon to keep running the station because you know, it's a pretty important part in the downtown area, and you know, I just got a lot of experiences working downtown with like the Trashers and you know XCI, and now with the Westerners too.
So any chance that maybe Danbury Music Center, maybe one of their concerts, would you broadcast that maybe for your listening?
Well, the thing with XCI was, as I've told you, it was kind of a mess of a situation, and we're kind of in a rebuilding process, and we, you know, that pyramid was missing an entire operation, but now we filled that pyramid down at XCI, so now we can start, you know, utilizing those things. And I think I mentioned that time when, with the fireworks, possibly broadcast the music over XCI and for the local music like they do in Hartford and like the Foxwoods one.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That was Justin's idea. we have regular conversations about how to tie into XCI.
It's just going to take time, and I think the right people are in the right positions right now to make something happen.
Yeah, you're part of that pyramid.
And yeah, definitely, and so are you.
Thanks. We all are.
Tell them what date to save in June so they can broadcast it.
Yes, June 21st.
June 21st?
June 21st,
We'll work with
2008.
it. The classes are going to be starting that week. It's going to be hectic, but we can probably make something work.
Yeah, it's a Saturday. You're not going to have class, Justin.
All right, yeah, we'll definitely talk about it.
Okay.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye.
That's the manager from WXCI, and we've been trying to pool together the resources, especially with this idea of building downtown Danbury into a music city.
And XCI, if I'm not mistaken, is the WestCon's radio station.
It's WestCon's radio station.
Yeah.
And what most people don't know is that its broadcast range is really strong. It's only, as a college station, it's only it's third rank in the region to URI in Bristol and UConn. And then XCI is the third, I don't know if you wouldn't call it largest, but I guess strongest signal station.
And it's an excellent station. It has a little of everything. There's something in there to please everybody.
Yeah.
'Cause I've listened to that many times.
It is, and has a really strong signal. My NPR station sort of fritzes out as I approach downtown, and I think it's because of XCI, but that's okay.